Today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the NECA Toys Evil Dead 2 Retro Cloth Hero Ash. Spot actually hasn't picked up many of the retro cloth outfit characters that NECA is producing now. Essentially what they are is I believe they're a little bit taller than a standard 6-inch figure, but they are including real clothing. And I like the idea. I like the idea that they're taking a simple standard figure that they would normally produce and are upping it a level with some really cool fabric outfits. Now, if you've been collecting these, NECA's also produced Friday the 13th. They've even done a Friday the 13th Part 5 Roy, which is actually the first time we're getting a figure of Roy, and I think that's kind of cool. But I saw this at my local comic book store and decided to pick it up. There was also the Deadite Ash, which I might actually go back and pick up because I'm really digging so far the look of Ash here. A poster on the side featuring artwork I haven't actually seen before of Ash toting not only his boomstick but also his chainsaw hand. On the back of the package, both Deadite Ash and Hero Ash were again available in my comic book store. The read-up says, after a relaxing cabin vacation doesn't go as planned, Ash is left with 3 dead friends, an undead girlfriend, and an angry evil spirit on the loose. As nightfall approaches, Ash must prepare to again battle the legions of the damned if he wants to make it to dawn. Be sure to head over to NECA Toys at NECAOnline.com. You can check out all the retro clothed outfit figures that they are producing, as well as a whole wide range of figures as well. Spot is going to take a break and get this opened up. When we come back, we're going to get a better look at retro cloth Evil Dead Ash. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. For Ash's lone accessory, you get yourself his sawed-off shotgun, double-barrel shotgun, or as he coins it, his boomstick. And it's a nice-looking piece. Between the coloring and the brown of the handle and the nice dark, almost has it's got a metallic gray to it, but it also looks like it's a bit of like a darker gray, like it's got a little bit of rust to it. It's a really nice touch. Now you can take the boomstick and either put it into his hand, and just obviously he's only going to have one hand, as his other hand is his boomstick, but you can wedge it in there. Wedge it in there. Let's try that again. Wedge it in there. There we go. And you can have his boomstick. Or what you can also do too is take the boomstick out of his hand, and like the other figures that we've seen before, he has a holder in the back that can hold his boomstick. Now, whereas the figure, the 6-inch figure, would have had this as plastic, the retro cloth Ash has this as like a rubbery material, and it fits in there quite well, actually. His other accessory is one that's already attached to him, and that is his chainsaw. It's a beautiful looking piece, and really for that matter, Ash as a whole is a really phenomenal looking piece, but loving the look of the chainsaw. I wish I had my 6-inch Ash available. I packed him away somewhere. I'm not quite sure where I've got him, but I'm wondering if the chainsaw is a reuse from the chainsaw that we got with the 6-inch Ash, or if they might have potentially scaled it up to accommodate the fact that this Ash is a little bit bigger than the 6-inch Ash. And I say a little bit bigger, I think he's only just like a hair bit taller than Ash. I think the other Ash was probably to about his chin there. It's a great looking piece though. I mean, it probably works itself that the first retro cloth figure that Spot ends up picking up is of Ash. It carries very well. I think the figure carries very well, and initially I think going into the retro cloth figures, and probably one of the reasons why I didn't get a lot into the figures just yet, was because There are higher scale figures, higher end collectibles when you start getting into the likes of Sideshow, when you start getting into the likes of Hot Toys, and they've been doing that property for a very long time. NECA, as they can't approach certain licenses under certain scales, that's why you tend to get a really, really tall 18-inch version of figures as opposed to 6-inch figures. Instead of giving us like a 12-inch, 1/6 scale version of a figure, they're going smaller. But the inclusion of the fabric really works actually quite well on Ash. You still get all the posability and all the movability that you would with a standard figure, but you get that kind of middle ground area between a high-end collectible and an action figure. Together, meeting them in that middle section there, I think NECA really did a bang-up job on Ash here. Having a closer look at his face, I believe it's a little bit different than the 6-inch version of Ash that we had gotten. Little bit different. Likeness-wise, I think it's pretty good. It looks a lot like Bruce Campbell. Not as bloody as he would eventually be in the movie. He really gets a lot of blood dumped on all over him. But yeah, it's a really great looking sculpt. He's got a darker coloring to him, of flesh color, which is similar to how Bruce Campbell appears in the movie. He's got a bit of a darker coloring there. And you can see like the gash, the little gash marks in his chest. You can see where his shirt's been ripped open, the sleeve's been removed, and the strapping that he has to not only the holster, but also his chainsaw. Now the chainsaw isn't attached at all, it's only loosely attached to his arm, whereas I think in the movie he actually had a contraption that attached it to the harness that he could actually pull the arm out and it would, well, extend his arm and it would start the chainsaw up. Now, you would not be able to remove this, nor would I suggest it, especially like this area right here. The harness clearly doesn't look like it can be removed. The shirt technically could, but again, like, to take all of this off, I wouldn't even gamble. I wouldn't even gamble trying to take all this the shirt off if you wanted a shirtless Ash. I would probably just leave it as is, because the last thing you'd want to do, especially because this is a thin strapping, it's a material strapping, but because it's so thin, you could run the risk of it ripping or snapping when you're trying to remove it. So you know what? I would recommend just leaving it as is. His pants equally are also on a Velcro as well. But again, why would you want to take off Ash's pants? So there you go. For your articulation, Ash, once again, still has quite a bit of articulation that you would come to expect with NECA toys. And really, technically, the 6-inch version of Ash, I believe, still relied on NECA's older swivel in the legs, where it was like a V-cut. The retro cloth version of Ash definitely has a lot more movability, a lot more posability to it. Ash's head is on a ball joint, so it moves fairly easy, very easily indeed. Shoulders are on a ball and socket hinge. Also looks like just a ball socket, pin and socket joint, I should say. So it moves out. Arms rotate forward and back. You might be a little more limited on this arm, as the fabric may bunch itself here, that rotating the arm a certain way, you can see it starts to bunch up the fabric material. But still, I mean, moves very easily indeed. As for his elbows, well, his elbows are on a single hinge. And I'm surprised actually that there isn't a swivel in the bicep. They've opted just to give him a hinged rotation in the shoulder, but no swivel in the forearm. He does have a hinge socket wrist, so it rotates all the way around, and again bends slightly back and forth. As for your torso, he has a swivel, a straight swivel in the waist, and then the legs appear to be on a hinge socket joint as well, so they move out. Really hindered though when you get them to about there. Also too, when you start swiveling it, it looks, you know what, the more I look at it, I'm wondering if, I think there is a V cut right there. So I was going to say the leg doesn't rotate forward and back too much. You know what, actually scratch that. It does look like it's a hinge and socket, because the legs do move out and forward and back, but just really limited by the pants here. Swivel in the thigh, a single bend at the knee, and swivel in the shoe or boots there of Ash as well. It's a great figure. Like, it surprised me, actually, how much I end up really liking this figure. It's a good amalgamation of, again, high-end collectible with the inclusion of the material here, and a standard action figure that we would come to expect and come to love from the folks over at NECA. The end result, though, is a really great figure of Ash. If you didn't get a chance to pick up the 6-inch version of Ash, I would say that this is a great replacement for that piece. Super articulated, and the fabric kind of gives you that feel that it's a premium figure at the cost of what you would be paying for an action figure. This figure itself cost Spot roughly about $22, I think it was about $23 at my comic book store. They had the Deadite Ash there, and I'm probably going to be going back and seeing if they still have it. Retro Cloth Ash, I'm going to give him a 9. Today's toy spot, we were having a look at the NECA Toys Evil Dead 2 Retro Cloth Ash. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more videos heading your way. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.